I'm feeling so patriotic. Hi, I'm Laura. This is Ella. If you could tell by the title, I'm going to be reading 3 sports romances this week. The 3 books I've chosen, I'm trying to get through my physical TBR, which is right there. 2 of them I already owned, and then 1 is on Kindle Unlimited, but I already ordered the physical copy because it was on sale, and I'm loving the book so far. I did already start it. I guess we'll start off with the one I started reading already, which is Icebreaker by Hannah Grace. We have Anastasia, who's a figure skater, and Nathan something, but Nate, who's a hockey player on the school team. It's definitely Grumpy Sunshine from the vibes I'm picking up so far. I haven't even gotten to the incident where they're forced to practice together yet. I'm really excited for that. I really like her. She's very, very fierce, knows what she wants, sure of herself, but I've just started, so we'll see how all my thoughts and opinions change. I'm really excited though because I love figure skating a lot and I love hockey boys. I went to a hockey game in person recently and I found so many of them hot, and then I'd look up their Instagrams and I would think to myself, if I saw them in the street, I would not look again. But the fact that I saw them on the ice. The second book I'm going to be reading is Throttled in the Dirty Air series. It's the first book, and this is Formula One. The amount of scolding and lecturing I got when I said to some friends that I didn't know if one was a sport. It's a sport, guys, and so this counts in this challenge. I bought this after I went to the Grand Prix Montreal in the summer, and I loved it. I loved the atmosphere. Obviously, I know so many of the boys by face and I recognize their names, the drivers, boys. And I've watched the Drive to Survive on Netflix, so I'm gonna go into it blind, which I'm really excited about. I haven't been in the F1 world in a while. Now, the last one I think is by far the most famous, or Icebreaker is pretty hype. The Deal by Elle Kennedy. This will be my first Elle Kennedy book. Based on the cover, I cannot tell what sport it is. Oh, hockey team. Well, it's 2 hockey books. I have been so good about ignoring spoilers because I don't want to know anything. Those are the 3 books, and I will see you as I read. All right, we are 56, you cannot see percent in. My thoughts. I am in love with this man. In love with this man. I want him to be mine. But it's okay, I love Stassi, so she can have him. He's so sweet and kind and thoughtful. The acts of service are immaculate. I think he's making me question how I want to be loved because I just want to be loved by him. So like, give me anything you want to give. I'm very, very sussed out by the skating partner. Her skating partner. I don't understand the motivations of him doing things, and it's making me question how she's letting it happen because she's such a strong, independent, motivated girl, like Anastasia, our main girl, but then the way that her partner treats her is so beyond awful, and she just kind of lets it happen. Yeah, she sometimes will stand up for herself, but not really. She more so just avoids the conflict in the situation, which she doesn't do in her life with anyone else. We also just got to a juicy part with Nate's dad. He just came in town, and I'm really interested to see how that dynamic will play out. I know both of them have family issues, but I'm loving it. They have gotten to the point of kind of explaining a bit like all the jumps in figure skating and what she's struggling with, and I know them. So, you know, when she says she wants to do a quadruple Lutz, or is it a toe loop, she wants one of them to get that jump down, and I'm like, girl, that's impossible. Like, only the Russians on cocaine, or I don't even know what drug they're on, can do that. It's really interesting, and I love the fact that I know the terminology she's talking about. We haven't really heard much about hockey. Honestly, her friends lack a bit of depth, but I'm loving all of the guys on the hockey team because Nate, our main guy, is the captain. It's just such a good book, and on my Kindle, I feel like I read so fast because I'll just like tap, 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 get me to the next page. I am listening to an amazing playlist on Spotify. I love when people make playlists for books. It's like, I think it's called Reading Icebreaker. The songs are hitting really good. I just had to check in. So I'm at the 73% mark. I've been reading for, I don't know how long, maybe an hour. It is so cute. Are you kidding me? They just visited each other's houses for the holidays. Like, they flew from LA, where their school is, to Seattle, and I think he's from Colorado. Right now, it's basically his internal monologue of a love letter to her. It's So he's like trying to think of how to tell her he loves her. He could talk for hours about her beauty, but that's not just why he's in love with her. He's in love with her determination and commitment, her soft side, how they communicate. It's so sweet and happy, and it makes me so happy. I finished Icebreaker and it was so good. I have so many moments while I was reading that I was just in awe that even though it's fictional, I was in awe that a man could be that way. Our main guy is just so sweet, and reading from his POV really sold me on the book. I think that was the best part of it, is that I could see his intentions behind things and what was going through his mind. Just getting the inside look on what they were thinking and going through, and like their logic to act a certain way towards each other, made it so much better. And they're so sweet, and it's such a healthy relationship. They have such a cute little epilogue at the end, and I know that some people don't like that. This is all gonna be spoiler free except for right now. Spoiler for the very end. Minimal spoiler. Okay, you've been warned. I don't like that she got pregnant. Like, she said earlier in the book that she wants to adopt. I think we already lack representation of adoption in books, so why why have the main girl say, I want to adopt, and then have her get pregnant anyway? Spoiler. End. Other than that, I loved the book. Their relationship was developed so well. I read it on my Kindle, so I can't tell how big the book is in person, but it also didn't feel like Mariana's a pod long. I don't think it was that long either. Maybe also because there were those little smutty scenes throughout, it didn't feel that long. I really recommend it, and I love the Easter eggs of mentioning figure skating and the sport. I'm really interested to see who the next books are going to be about. I really want a book about Henry. I loved Henry, and he's the one who didn't really get a relationship in this book, and he develops a really, really strong, beautiful friendship with our main girl. The men are just mature. Well, okay, minus Aaron. We have one cracked character, and I didn't like him from the start. I know I say that in a clip earlier, that I just did not like Aaron, and I was right. But other than that, yeah, amazing book. Highly recommend. Go read it. We are 124 pages in to Throttled. We're starting to meet all of the different F1 boys, and I can just so clearly tell this might start feeling like found family. I love Lauren Asher's writing. I really love our main character, Maya. She graduates and then starts blogging kind of behind the scenes of F1 and just her travels around the world. Now I have more context, which was on the back of the book anyway, but I like going into things blind. She, our main girl, is the sister of an F1 driver. That F1 driver is the rival, well, kind of rival of our main guy, Noah. They're on the same team, but they have a history of not getting along well, or just being really competitive and crashing their cars. A lot of tension and history with them. I will say one trope that is in this, which I didn't know if I would love, our guy Noah is a playboy, a massive one. The way he talks and thinks about women in the beginning is a bit concerning, but at the end of the day, I'm sure so many men actually think like that, and it's disgusting. But then when you see how he thinks about Maya, it's really sweet. I just hate that he ever treated women that way. And Maya has just made a friend who's also in the F1 world through her families, and she's also not the girlfriend of anyone. She's the daughter of one of the owners, and now they're friends. I wonder if she'll have her own book. Those are my thoughts for now. I'm excited to keep reading. Okay, I've been reading on the floor, but I'm over halfway now, and it is so good. I could just binge the rest of the book right now. I'm also so inclined to order book 2, but then I have so many books I want to read right now. I hate doing that to myself, starting a series and then I want to finish the series, but then I have other books I also want to read. It's amazing. The character development between both of them, so good. I love the detail going into developing their relationship as well. Thank you, Lauren Asher, for really showing the moments between them that make them connect and how they communicate. And it's still very much, I wouldn't call it enemies to lovers, but there is still the banter and the internal monologue of, oh, this is wrong, or I shouldn't like him. And I love that because it keeps going. But even when a sneaky little kiss happens or a moment of vulnerability happens, it's so rewarding, and then they flip back to how they were before, and I love it. I love the toxicity of it all. Like, I want to savor every second, but then I also want to get to the end and find out how this all wraps up. They also haven't gotten together yet. The part I just ended at, she agreed to go on a date with him. I finished this book last night, and now my life is forever changed. I'm completely in love with Lauren Asher and Maya. Noah, I like him a lot. He's not my favorite male character ever. I'm already in love with someone new. I started The Deal, which is the next book I'm reading for this, and I'm in love with him. But this was such a good book. I love how it seems like every book I read recently talks about therapy so openly. I think it's because there are a lot of newer releases and now it's just not taboo anymore. So I think a lot of authors probably go to therapy or just know about it, so they include it for their characters. I also do love the hints of found family trope we got with all of their friends, and Noah has a very bad relationship with his parents, so he really puts a lot of emphasis on his friends and the people he's surrounded with. I'm really happy with this. I loved reading about the F1 part of it too, like the behind the scenes aspect, all the stats and the terminology for the racing. I was very offended because Maya, our main girl, didn't go to the Canadian Grand Prix, and Lauren Asher talks, kind of vividly about all the places they go to for races because they travel, and she's a tourist, so she explores, but she didn't get to explore Montreal, which sucks. Hopefully they talk about the Canadian Grand Prix and the other 3 books in the series. Throttled, amazing. Honestly, so much success with this video. I think just sports romances do it for me. I just finished this masterpiece of a book, and what do we think, Ella? I kind of feel empty inside. I'm gonna go immediately read another book to fill the void in my heart, but it was so good. I've officially mulled over The Deal enough, and I'm now ready to talk to you about it and end this video. Man, oh man, Garrett Graham. I did not give this book the benefit of the doubt. Basically, there is a third act conflict, as there are in many sports romances and just romances in general. And normally they end up with the couple breaking up for no good reason, and then it just gets resolved, and then it's like, okay, but what was the point of that? When this third act conflict happened, I was so annoyed because 1, the reason was dumb and communication would have fixed it. 2, the things going through our main girl, Hannah's head, were so dumb, and the things she wanted to do to prove to him that she's over him, toxic. I know it was a blimp in the story, but in this book, Hannah was really cool, but Garrett's personality, top tier. What kind of redeemed the book for me, because I still loved it so much because of how sure Garrett is of their relationship, without towing the line of obsessive and possessive. He kind of does this prank on campus. I don't want to spoil it, but it was cool. I liked how the third act was resolved, but it was still pointless. It did not need to happen. It could have just been more moments of them being in love. I thought the hockey elements were pretty cool, but on the sports specific side, it definitely wasn't as into the lingo or sport world as Throttled, for example. Like, this mentioned F1 a lot. This mentioned hockey a bit, but it also focuses on Hannah's life, and she's in the arts. She's not into hockey. She doesn't play hockey. I really liked it. I read it really fast. Now, looking back to reflect on all 3, I've kind of compared them all to each other when I talk to them as I've been reading, but Icebreaker remains one of my favorite books ever. Is it my favorite book I've read this year so far? Probably. He really is the definition of the perfect man written by a woman. But Nate's probably a bit more realistic and still incredible. And you know what? I take it back. Definitely not realistic. He's too good for any man to live up to. Then, as you've just watched, I read Throttled. Looking back, this one, I appreciate the sports content the most. Even though I love hockey, F1 is a sport that I've been interested in, and this just gave so much detail about F1, which I really appreciate, because this one is set in the professional setting of actual F1. There are made up names, you know, it's not like Red Bull and Ferrari. The other ones are on university campuses, and the main guys just play on the university hockey team. So it's not even like the NHL necessarily. So I think that's why maybe this one has so much sports talk. But yeah, I really liked it. 1000% continuing with this series. And then The Deal. Solid book. I really enjoyed it. I have heard that other people like the rest of the series more, which is really interesting because Garrett, who can beat him? I don't know about that. But maybe the storyline or something are better in the others. But there you have it. Those are the 3 sports romances I read this week. If you've made it this far, thank you. This was a long one, but I really appreciate you. I'm really happy with the 3 books I read. Definitely making me in the mood to read more sports romances. I'm going to have to order some more Mariana Zapata books because if you don't know, she's the queen of sports romances. They're just like 600 pages long, so I didn't know if it was the right choice for this week. Yeah, that's everything from me. Check out my TikTok and my Instagram, all linked below, and have a lovely day. Ella and I wish you luck.